from the regime there, sending in an aircraft carrier, the USS Nimitz, to the Caribbean. Dan Baer is our guest. Dan is the former U.S. ambassador to the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. He's now at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. And you wonder whether the U.S. military is going to be in action again. Venezuela, Iran, now Cuba?
Yeah, I would say it seemed like the Trump administration was going for a trifecta, except it doesn't seem like the two previous ones were both unambiguous wins for the administration. As you said, there seems to be a pattern now where you get these kinds of veiled threats, like we just heard from Stephen Miller, sometimes very thinly veiled, combined with legal pressure. We should remember that Maduro himself was indicted way back in 2020. That was the beginning of a kind of legal signal, and then military action or military buildup in the region. And so the combination of those three does look like a story that we've seen before.
And here's what the president said today about Cuba. Listen.
It's a failed country. Everybody knows it. They don't have electricity. They don't have money. They don't have really anything. They don't have food. We want to open it up to Cuban Americans where they can go back and help.
All right. I guess the question then becomes, what's our strategic interest there, and how do we achieve that interest?
And that's been a question that obviously has stymied a number of U.S. leaders over the last decades. President Trump is right that Cuba is very poor. It's also less than 100 miles from the United States. It's very poor because of the crippling sanctions that the United States has put on it, because of its terribly autocratic political system. So untangling that knot and seeing whether there's something that can be built there is something that many people have looked to try to achieve. I think the question about whether military action is the way to move toward that, whether there is somebody, I mean, the administration seems to be counting on the idea that there's somebody who can be kind of a Cuban Delcy Rodriguez.
Right.
Whether there is somebody there who can do that is an open question.
Right. And the public doesn't seem supportive, of more foreign interventions. I was looking at some polling on this. It wasn't so hot. But, in places like Florida, like I had the mayor of Hialeah, Florida on, Brian Calvo, yesterday, and here's what he said about it.
We got to go get Raul Castro. He needs to be brought to the courts of American justice. We see the reports also of the carrier Nimitz, right, entering the Caribbean. Southcam posted about that. But there needs to be something else to happen in the next few days or in the next coming weeks to really kick up the ante.
And, I asked him whether that would be an invasion. He said maybe, but I'm not sure about broader support in the country for this. What would you say about whether people should support it if it comes to that?
I think you're right that there is little appetite in most of the country for more military action. Obviously, Cuba is a special case, and particularly in Florida, there are many people who have either escaped or have parents who have escaped the cruelty of the Cuban regime, and so it takes on a special resonance there. I think most Americans will see it, though, in the broader context of the conflict that continues with respect to Iran, a conflict that has enormous costs here at home and has had costs for many American partners and allies, and where President Trump finds himself in many ways backed into a corner, and they will wonder whether military action might lead to unintended consequences here as well.
Speaking of which, do you expect the president to restart the fighting and start bombing in Iran again? Is that where that's going?
I think in Iran, the president finds himself stuck in many ways between Iran and several hard truths. One is that right now, the war that he's launched has set us back strategically. We are worse off strategically than we were before he started it. The other is that diplomacy, well, he's been giving diplomacy a chance. It doesn't seem to be having imminent breakthroughs. And if it were to have a breakthrough, it's hard to see it have an outcome that is better than what we had with the JCPOA. And third is that most Americans are not supportive of restarting fighting, and neither are most American partners in the region. And so there's no appetite for the war to continue. There's little prospect of the diplomacy paying off anything better than what he tore up.
Right.
And we're worse off than we were when the war started.
So it's almost like he gets that, right? Does he seem like he has much appetite for it? It's always, I'll give him a couple of days, and then a couple of days goes by. I'll give him a week. He doesn't seem like he wants to do it either.
You're right. You're totally right, Connell. There's a read of this, which is that the president himself is gradually accepting and trying to get the country to accept that we are going to have to live with something worse than the status quo ante, and that we've actually lost this round.
It's amazing, isn't it? Dan Baer, as always, thank you. We appreciate it. Now, as we continue, we're going to talk about this coming up. It may